Salaam and greetings, Moors. Welcome back to another episode of Pardon the Interjection. I am your host, Supreme L. I would love to give high honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Here on Partner Interjection, we dig up information to divulge to the people and helping in the upliftment of fallen humanity. And yes, we have took a heavy fall, y'all. But we are waking up in droves, in hordes. We're waking up, and it is a wonderful time to be alive. I want to bring something to the attention of the family, and what we'll be going into today is a various of topics pertaining to one. First, let's not get it twisted. We have a prophet. You know what I'm saying? We have a Prophet Noble Drew Ali. We have a prophet for our nation. And to give a little breakdown, we go into our university, RV Bay Publications, and we read Noble Drew Ali, a Moor, descendant of the ancient Moabites, was born in the North Carolina Territory, Northwest Africa, America, in the year 1886 AD, 1306 Moorish calendar. He was born of the Cherokee tribe of the Moorish nation and was named Timothy Drew. At a very young age, Timothy Drew was inspired to learn more about the scattered bits and pieces of knowledge, heritage, and culture of his ancient Moorish peoples. He began to travel this old land, North America, for those who don't know. And we continue. He lived with and mingled with various tribes of our indigenous Moors and was resolved to better their conditions. Noble Drew Ali's inspired activity and determination were the impetus for the yet-to-be manifested Moorish movement. This movement was destined to progressively activate and change the whole frame of mind, status, and political condition for the defeated Moorish nation in Northwest Africa, Al-Murak, America.
I know what dirty Moors, yeah. I know what dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I'm saying, I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did. I'm going at dirty rappers, lynching dirty Moors too. Hiding literature that Drew wrote to warn you. They claim to make you Muslim and make you sovereign. With paperwork and filing, the fiat they robbing.
I was getting off at 75, and there is literally a tiger walking down the ramp.
A stunned motorist calls 911 to report a tiger, yes, a tiger, on an interstate highway in Georgia. Another caller reports the tiger is now in her yard.
There's a tiger in the front yard.
There's a what, ma'am?
A tiger.
You said there's a tiger in the front yard?
A full-size tiger. It's huge. I mean, it's what you would see like at Noah's Ark or something.
How on earth did a tiger end up in the city of Stockbridge, Georgia? Turns out the big cat was in Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus's final show last May.
Hey, Susie.
Susie the tiger escaped from a truck as she was being transported with 13 other circus tigers from Florida to Tennessee. She ended up in Brittany Speck's backyard.
It was probably almost the size of the minivan. Like it was a full-grown tiger, but it was just pacing back and forth.
Then the unthinkable happened.
It started to come up the yard towards the gate and then ended up launching back at my dog and pouncing on top of her.
9-year-old Journey escaped with just a few scratches.
Like, she has some dried blood still.
Susie was shot and killed by police. The yard still shows signs of the terrifying encounter.
This is the paw print to the tiger right here. Jumanji in my backyard, literally.
A spokesperson for Feld Entertainment, which owns Ringling Brothers, says they're working with law enforcement to try to figure out how the tiger escaped.
What we want to do is we want to show you this situation down at the Tiger Safari in Tuttle to give you an idea. This is a satellite shot of the area, and guys, can we go in any further on it? The Tiger Safari is at the bottom of your screen, kind of where you can see the curved road, and it's in that right bottom corner there of your screen.
Right
there. Yeah, there it is, and it goes over to the side there to the right. That's all part of it. And then you've got the housing addition just north of it.
That road that you see that runs, looks like north-south there, that's Frisco Road, and that is just off of Fox Lane, if you're familiar with that area near the Tuttle area. But yeah, they are asking people still right now to stay indoors, especially if you live right near the Tiger Safari, and that's because the latest we've heard is that there are some exotic animals on the loose. That is coming straight from the Grady County Sheriff's Department, and they are urging everybody to stay inside because of that.
I would stay inside.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to tell me twice, right?
Bruh, when the water come, bruh, I promise you, bruh, it was like 30 feet of water. Like, I'm literally seeing houses moving 5 miles. I'm just a whole house just going down the street. Not in no little water. I'm talking about like Olympic pool like water.
Tsunami.
Yeah. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, the next thing you see, the aquarium bus. They got an aquarium, New Orleans Aquarium.
Yeah.
Now you got alligators, white alligators, and snakes, and boa constrictors, and these exotic birds coming down the street. Like, they hungry. You know what I'm saying? They got feces, the sewers jumping up. Then the zoo, the zoo got an electronic locking system.
Right.
That's gone. They got seals. They got hippos in the street, homie. You know what I'm saying? They got tigers swimming. You know what I'm saying? We already had gators and crocodiles.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You got the possums out now. Like, it's a big party. It's a water party, you heard me? And anybody in the way, it's going down.
They don't care about his words, throw it out like garbage, or throw it at you when you're active, not passive. When they want to talk about like off a trampoline mattress, treat them like a vamp or a teen actress.
This immense hole was caused by a hailstorm of biblical proportions, with rocks of ice pounding into cars and homes. Measuring 20.5 centimetres in diameter with a 47 centimetre circumference, it was found by a local man who ventured out of his home. His first thought was to use it to make a daiquiri drink, but he called the experts in, who concluded this was a record breaker.
Officially, where records have been kept, this will be the U.S. record and the world record for weight. So very impressive.
The town suffered widespread damage, with hailstones punching through the top of buildings and going deep into the ground. The finder said the ice chunk had been even bigger, but with no power to keep the freezer going, it had shrunk by 5 centimetres.
I'm glad I got it, I guess, but I'm just sad about the town of Vivian. I just hope the insurance people help them out as much as they can, because they need it.
It's now gone to a federal lab, where scientists hope to discover more about how hailstones form. David Campanale, BBC News.
Giant hailstones have rained down on South China's Guangdong province, leaving at least 9 people dead and nearly 300 injured. Local authorities said the thunderstorm hit Dongguan city on Wednesday afternoon, with winds reaching up to 177 kilometers per hour. Some hailstones were as large as 8 centimeters in diameter. Storms also hit central China's Hunan province and Kudjo province in the southwest of the country. Houses and electricity lines were severely battered, as were many vehicles. The local meteorological department forecast that there will be no let-up in the rain for a few days. Lu Yang, BBC News.
Get stabbed with the brand like a mean savage. This inquisition divine, all others average. Millennium renaissance, heroes in our classes. Fed up with the czar controlling fascists. Ask if they heard about Moors, they say no. But Masons, they obviously know. down the handshakes and rituals with skull and bones. They even know about owls burning in Bohemian Grove.
Hi there, I'm Clay Cutts. I'm the founder of Empowerable Behavioral Health, the author of Beyond the Bottle, and the creator of Sergeant Sober's online boot camp. I just wanted to check in with you for a minute because I'm getting a lot of questions on my website and some responses to blog posts, and I see it all over the internet. And I get asked this by clients in my private practice from time to time, fairly often. And the question is this: should I quit drinking cold turkey or some variation of that? Is it dangerous to quit drinking cold turkey and all those sorts of things? I'm talking specifically about alcohol now and not necessarily other drugs, although I work with folks who have both drug and alcohol problems. So the question is, should I quit drinking cold turkey? And the answer is probably not, at least not without medical intervention. Alcohol withdrawal can be lethal, can be life-threatening. It's very, very dangerous, and that's why there are detox centers. You can detox from other chemicals as well. But here's sort of my rule of thumb. Typically, the people who need to not quit drinking cold turkey are those people who drink extremely large amounts of alcohol and/or those people who've been drinking for a long time, or those people who maybe not the daily drinkers, but those who drink really, really hard, sort of in binges. Those people that maybe don't drink during the week, but get very, very drunk all weekend long. Now here's this gets to the rule of thumb. If you stop drinking for a few hours or maybe half a day, and you start to have a lot of negative emotional feeling, not necessarily emotional, but you get really shaky, you get headache, you get not just hangover headache, but you feel like if I drink a little bit more, these symptoms will go away. And that's the key. If you have these negative symptoms, the shakes and the bad feeling, and you drink a little bit more and those feelings go away, you need to not quit drinking cold turkey. It's very, very important.
I know what Dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did.
Elephants have more brain mass than any other land animal, and their brain size is about twice of that of a whale. Their brain contains about 300 billion neurons. This is the same amount of neurons in the human brain. They display a wide variety of emotions, from grief to compassion, and have the ability to communicate non-verbally. They're also the only known animal other than humans to have any recognizable ritual around death. Many elephants have been trained at zoos to do tricks and have completed advanced problem solving. They can most likely beat you in a game of one-on-one.
Paying tribute to their king. Each carefully choreographed and synchronized step. 11 royal elephants have taken part in a procession dedicated to Thailand's late ruler Phumyapan Adunyaday, who died last month. The national animals were brought to Bangkok, where the king's body is lying in state, from the ancient capital of Ayutthaya. They travelled with their 200 mahouts, bowing in front of the Grand Palace Gate, themselves taking part in a minute's silence for their sovereign of more than 70 years. This ritual is thought to be one of the toughest the elephants have to train for. But it's clear they executed all they learnt beautifully, enchanting everyone who saw their performance.
Something very unusual. I've never seen the elephants this white like this. I understand they're royal elephants, and they're dressed up magnificently, and just something very special.
Something special indeed. And just one of the many ways Thailand is showing their respect and reverence for King Phumyapan during their year-long national mourning.
Dirty Moors killed Drew. I read the FBI papers on loyal Moors, emergency fund rapers, Moorish literature and divine ballot changers. Might as well say Drew Ali was born in a manger.
All right, peace and love, fam. This is Mario L. Bay. Topic today is Moorish Americans in marriage. Tying the knot, jumping the broom, relationships. I'm gonna get into it all today about love and happiness.
you know, being together, terms like shacking, the whole nine people. So the thing about a marriage and a relationship is it's a unity between yourself and your mate. That's a personal thing, okay? No preacher, no other person should be able to set that love up, because it's a divine aspect that's coming from the Most High, okay? That's why a lot of people these days really don't stay in their marriage, quote unquote, in these days, because of that fictitious piece of paper that they sign over, that evil piece of paper that they sign over from the state of. Now, some people may be like, what is he talking about, signing that paper? You got to think about it, people. Your union between yourself and your mate is between you two. No one else. Think about it. When you pay your bills, that's private. That's between you and your mate. You don't put anybody else in your business paying your bills, whether it's your utilities, your phone, your house note, rent, car note, whatever it may be. That's between you and your mate. You don't go out and share that business with other people, right? My whole point is that it's supposed to be a private thing. You don't put people in your private union between yourself and the Most High, okay? I can remember back in the day, you know, people would stay married. They would actually stay married until death really did them apart, okay? These days, people will be in relationships, or what some older folks call shacking, living together without the actual contract, which is a form of mental slavery and bondage, servitude, okay? They would be in a relationship for years and years and years, okay? But now people can be in relationships, and the minute they sign that contract, it goes downhill from there. It goes downhill because, again, you just tied in evil entities, negative energy, frequencies, vibration into your private union without even realizing it. Okay? Got to think about it, people. Think about it. Now, remember, a license is a permission. It's a permission all day, every day. I talk about this all the time. I stress it all the time. A license is a permission. Now, this video may make a few people upset, but the truth is the truth. And my goal is not to make anyone upset. My goal is to make you aware of what the marriage license is and what it is not. All right? And how relationships should last once you understand how to form that perfect union between yourself and your mate. Okay, these days it's horrible. You know, people just, they meet up. Of course, the physical, you know, they see the physical that'll attract them. They know nothing about the people. You know, it's more of a physical thing, more of a sexual thing, and boom, they out, right? But we got to get back to that tie, that bond. All right? We got to get back to that tie and that bond so we can keep our families together. You know, I've done it. When I was a lot younger, I've done it. I was married through the state, you know, because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. I thought you were supposed to have a preacher enter in and do it. I didn't know that you can actually be in matrimony without the ritualistic thing that the state involves you in, or you involve yourself in. I didn't know, you know. So I'm just going to explain today a few things about the marriage license. I'll go into the Zodiac Constitution, Article 5, in regards to the scientific zodiacal form of marriage, the natural way of marriage, the union between woman and man, feminine and masculine. So the first thing I'll do is I'll go into basically a conversation from Virgil Cooper in regards to the marriage license and really what it is technically, because people really don't understand what it really is. So again, I've been there, and when I became aware and conscious of what it really was, I disclaimed it for the record, okay? I sent my disclaimer in and let my ex-wife attorneys know that, you know, I was a minority at the time, so those contracts are void ab initio, meaning void from the beginning, because I had no idea what the hell I was signing. Okay, so I fought it. Actually, that was probably one of my easier fights. I didn't have to do any alimony, child support, any of those things, because like I said, I stood on my square. I disclaimed it. I put my status on the record. All right. And I'm not encouraging anyone to, you know, divorce each other, quote unquote. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just bringing you up to par to understand that you don't have to bring the corporate state or a preacher or priest or pastor into your private union, okay? That's what I'm saying. I'm not discouraging relationships or planning childhood. I'm not discouraging any of those things. I'm just bringing you to a certain awareness, all right? He then explained some of the technicalities of the marriage license. He said, first of all, the marriage license is secular contract between the parties and the state, okay? Look up the word secular. The state is the principal party in the secular contract, okay? Principal. The husband and wife are secondary or inferior parties. The secular contract is a three-way contract between the state as principal and the husband and wife as the other two legs of the contract. He said in the traditional sense, a marriage is a covenant between the husband and wife and God. But in the secular contract with the state, reference to God is a dotted line and not officially included in the secular contract at all. Okay. We'll go to page 2. In his description of the marriage license contract, the related one other dotted line. He said in the traditional religious context, marriage was a covenant between the husband and wife, and God with husband and wife joined as one. This is not the case in the secular realm of the state's marriage license contract. The state is the principal or dominant party. That's why it says the state of Arizona on top of the marriage license, the state of Minnesota on top of the marriage license, the state of Oregon, etc. Now, check this out. I'm going to repeat that. He said in the traditional religious context, marriage was a covenant between the husband and wife and God, with husband and wife joined as one. This is not the case in the secular realm of the state's marriage license contract. The state is the principal or dominant party, meaning they're the top, they're the head, but it's your union. The husband and wife are merely contractually joined as business partners, not in any religious union. They may be even considered, he said, connected to each other by another dotted line. The picture he was trying to paint was that of a triangle with the state at the top and a solid line extending from the apex, the state, down the left side to the husband and a separate solid line extending down the right side to the wife. A dotted line merely showing that they consider themselves to have entered into a religious union of some sort that is irrelevant to the state. Okay, so the state cares nothing about your personal tie. Okay, so if they care nothing about your personal tie, what is the purpose of even going to them to get quote unquote married? Think about it.
Prophet push boys beside and his food smell danger. Got me treating every more like a stranger. Grand sheep pumpkin stumbling drunk in their feds. What was proclaimed for every meeting was not read.
I love America. I love this country. I fought for this country in the '96 Olympic Games. And I'm gonna be the first one to tell. I'll be the first one to tell anybody. I'm not an African American. I'm an American. I was born on American soil. But I did go back to the motherland, and I love it. And made millions going back to the motherland. But I was born in America, and then it's no different from the. We're gonna go into the Floyd Mayweather mind. So when the Europeans came to the Native Americans, well, they like to call them Native Americans, but the Indians' land. We don't call them European Americans. So I don't want to be called an African American. I'm an American. You know what I'm saying? You can call me a black American, but I'm an American.
So if America,
you know, when
on August 26th,
I want to say this.
Go ahead.
When I competed in the Olympics, they didn't say fighting an African American. They said that American that's fighting out of the red corner or out the blue corner.
So you're an American?
Absolutely.
Well, when you say you're no longer black or African American,
I'm not.
What do you mean by that?
First of all, I'm a
What
Christian.
are you?
I'm a Christian. That's the first thing.
Okay.
Right.
And what racial group do you belong to?
Well, if you want to put me in a group, I will consider.
Because you have to be in a group.
If you want to put me in a group, I'll consider myself a Hamite. By that, I mean one of Noah's sons, Ham. That's who I would consider myself. But I don't consider myself black and pink, mainly because I'm not. And I don't consider myself an African American because I'm not that either. I'm a Christian. I'm an American, if you want. I am born in America. I've lived in America. I pay taxes in America sometimes. And I'm American. I think the other nations, segregationists, I think they tend to isolate, and I think they tend to, to say we can't fellowship or be anything else other than black.
This lady is a member of the Native American tribe, the Catawba. The Catawba were dispersed during the time in which there was an English engagement during the Seminole Warfare. The Catawba, who were originally the Yamassees, would eventually join the ranks of the Seminole Indians. In 1790, the enumerators were told to tell race by skin complexion, as the record keepers assumed that the indigenous people of North America had all died or gone west. There had to be a category for these people that were left over. The category of convenience was free mulatto. Slightly more careful record keeping used the alternative term free persons of color when classifying. As land on the eastern shores were taken from the indigenous people of North America, the statute of free persons of color changed to colored in the 1800s. Also, in those census records, census takers were told to list Mexicans or Hispanics as white. Through racism and land theft, the darker-skinned people were presumed to be enslaved African. Looking at the historical records of Europeans and their descriptions unveiled the fraud of this perception. In 1619, John Brown, the first English explorer, described the color of the people. When he landed on the eastern shore of America in Jamestown, Virginia, he described Powhatan, the Algonquin chief he had encountered, to look more like a devil, he states, with some 200 or more men as black as himself. In the books, Letters and Notes on the North American Indigenous People of North America, written in 1841 by author George Cartlin, a noted ethnographer, describes American indigenous people of North America as all primitive tribes known in America are dark copper-colored with jet black hair, while most possess curls in the extreme, which today is considered nappy hair, and every level of wavy hair in between. The texture of the hair is generally fine, soft or silk, or coarse and harsh. Catlin also noted, the hair of the men falling down to the hams and sometimes to the ground is divided into plaits or slabs 2 inches wide and filled with a profusion of glue and earth, which becomes very hard and remains unchanged from year to year. Today this form of hair is called locks.
Various tribes such as the Osage and the Apache use the crescent moon symbol, which is the national symbol of Angola, Mauritania, Tanzania, the Sahara, and Algeria, all found on the continent of Africa.
What is your heritage, Mr. Quill?
My mother is from Earth.
And your father?
He ain't from Missouri. That's all I know.
Some Moors are so active, prophet can't be dead. Thanks, Moorish teachers away, I can't be led. Actions speak, then I consider what's said. And what's said was study, then study yourself.
Now with a paltry 713,000 souls not last seen in the city since 1910, more than 100 years ago, and over 60% drop from its height in 1950, and after 5 decades of monolithic party rule, it has filed for Chapter 11 on July 18, 2013, the largest municipal bankruptcy in history. Today, Detroit is literally being reclaimed by poverty, crime, and nature itself, as many neighborhoods and public streets are abandoned. Now the stuff of distant memory and folklore. It's a dystopic, soulless carcass, a wasteland akin to the 1981 film Road Warrior, writes Reason Magazine Stephen Greenhut. It's suffering rural sprawl, and not the pretty kind. Greenhut notes that 40% of the traffic lights in the city aren't working. It takes 58 minutes for the police to respond to a crime, if they do at all, as many of its public services have been cut to heavily blighted areas. It has been reported some in law enforcement even warn visitors to enter at their own risk. The median square footage cost for a house, $13, and some can't even give it away for free. The median home price is $9,000. And some go as low as $100. Strangely enough, Detroit actually looks and feels like many of the cities it helped destroy during World War II. According to one estimate, there are 33,500 empty houses and 91,000 vacant residential lots in Detroit's Lost City. According to Douglas A. McIntyre, founder of 24/7 Wall Street, who grew up in Pontiac just to the north, Detroit earned its bankruptcy the easy way, through greed, corruption, and the desire for political power and poor planning. McIntyre highlights the fact that Detroit's elected officials have lost all of their political power. David Orr, the city's emergency planner, has it, and soon the courts will have it all. Bondholders, unions, and their members can only wait to see how badly they will be gored as part of the Chapter 9 bankruptcy process. If the blame is to be laid entirely at the feet of the Democratic Party of Detroit, the crushing irony, heavier than the insurmountable debt the city is facing, is that the progressive policies envisaged have stripped away democracy of all of its meaning, as the future of Detroit rests heavily with the unelected. The question is now, what do we do? And can Detroit, America's once great city, survive?
Honest to the prophet, noble True Ali. I know what dirty Moors did to True Ali. Everybody wants to be just like True Ali, but nobody wants to care about True Ali.
And the tallest tree is going to talk about the fact that Moors were on this soil even before the Native Americans were. Moors were on this soil even before the Native Americans were. Moors were on this soil even before the Native Americans were.
Nah, I ain't never got a front because they already know when I walk in the spot. You know what I'm saying? I'm Moorish. I'm a king, so it's like I'm Moorish. I'm a king, so it's like I'm Moorish. I'm a king, so it's like when I walk in, it's just gonna feel my aura. You know, I ain't gotta say nothing.
Hi, I'm Lotus, fuck a chorus. As a florist, you a florist. Fly to Cairo, fuck a tourist. In Morocco like a Moor. In Morocco like a Moor. In Morocco like a Moor.
God is the greatest and I pray for peace. Still rolling
rolling up a leaf, Mr. Drew Ali. Still rolling up a leaf, Mr. Drew Ali. Still rolling up a leaf, Mr. Drew Ali.
Time and the reaper know the budget, or lift the limits to sky and we could go above it. The hood metabolism high, heat ain't good for nothing. We was out of hope and hustling, cooking something down to a reduction. What's your object of desire? Your topic of discussion when you agile on your legs. The coastline cradle, your ivory castle on the edge, like a tassel on the fed, like a tassel on the fed, like a tassel on the fed.
I got the wordplay of Wallace, work ethic of Shakur. I was sent into the future with a message from the Moors. I was sent into the future with a message from the Moors. I was sent into the future with a message from the Moors.
I feel you. I see.
Go hard or go home, motherfucker.
That's what it's.
We the Moors. Once we rise, I will never fall. I'm not a group. We not a gang. We the Moors. Once we rise, I will never fall. I'm not a group. We not a gang. We the Moors.
Listen up. Y'all don't understand. This land that you stand on, that you think is America, this is actually Africa. The dear Mississippi that you love, that you know of, that's the Nile River. This is our land. You are Aboriginal Indigenous American. You are a Moorish American. So where is their green card? Where is their green card? Huh? Huh? They need weapons. We don't need no weapons. Huh? Huh? Stop calling us black. We're not African American. We Moorish American. Aboriginal Indigenous.
What's all right over there?
Know the laws of the land. Know your birthright and nationality. You are a Moorish American. Fight for your nationality. The Pope says stand up. The Pope says stand up. The Pope says stand up. Know the land. Know the laws of the land. You are an Aboriginal Indigenous American.
I know what Dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did. I know what Dirty Moors did to Drew Ali. I know what Dirty Moors did.